So we started off the year 2018 in Florida again. Where I do a lot of riding on rail trails. In fact, most of my riding is on rail trails, as I can't see very well, and that's the only place I feel safe from automobiles. Most of the trails in Florida are nice, flat, paved trails. This one is the Pioneer Trail. The Venice Trail runs up on the Intercoastal Waterways, not too far. Then there's the Legacy Trail that runs from Venice, Florida to Sarasota, Florida. I haven't done the whole trail yet. I tend to do these things in pieces because I have to bike out and bike back. And then I came back to Indian Land and spent a lot of time here riding around Sun City, where we were staying with my mother-in-law. I also stayed down at Andrew Jackson. It was at this point I decided I wanted to do a long bike trip, an overnight bike trip. So I started purchasing some gear to do that. The front pannier was my first big purchase toward this goal. Here I was riding on back roads, not too much traffic. In July, I went with my daughter north to New Jersey, getting ready for my overnight ride. This was the Columbia Trail, very, very nice trail in New Jersey. I packed up my panniers with all my camping gear and set off down the trail as a test to see how heavy my packs would be and how hard it would be to ride with them. Turned out it wasn't too bad. Going across the Raritan River here. Very nice trail on a very, very hot day. On to New Hampshire, where it was going to be a overnight bike trip. This would be my first one, testing my gear, getting ready for bigger things. Actually, this trail runs past the old house we used to live in New Hampshire. It was very hot for New Hampshire, up in the upper 80s to 90 degrees. I even spotted a moose along the trail. It was pretty shady most of the way, which made it enjoyable in the beginning. But after lunch, it got really hot, and I really feel ragged. So after another few miles, I decided to camp at this old train station. Which turned out to be a pretty noisy place to sleep as it was a crossroad between two roads. But it was still interesting and a lot of fun. Got up in the morning, made myself some coffee, some oatmeal, headed back down the trail for another few hours. This was the big adventure I had been planning. Except I couldn't drive. So my brother flew in to drive the motorhome and take me to north to do the Great Allegheny Passage. Beautiful trail, lots of waterfalls. The river was on the right and the waterfalls were on the left. I'd drive down the trail and he'd drive the motorhome and have lunch in the motorhome and continue on down the trail, and then he'd pick me up at the end of the day and we'd find some place to camp for the night. What a great adventure. It's not really a waterfall unless you can hear it, right? Someday I'll get a chance to go back and finish this trail. It goes from Pittsburgh to Columbia, Maryland. From Columbia, Maryland, it changes to the C&O Canal Trail and goes all the way down to Washington, D.C., mile marker 0. What an adventure.
Pause again. Here we are at the end of the trail. Oh, and here comes Jack. All right, good timing, Jack.
This was another wonderful bike ride along the New River, Virginia, on a nice afternoon. Only did about 10 miles of it. Then I had to go back. Well, this is my year in review. In all, I did over 400 miles of rail trails. Hope you enjoyed this.